Welcome in to Inside Carolina Postgame Live. I'm your host, Ross Martin, joined by Sean Drone.
Guys.
We're here with Inside Carolina Postgame Live, presented to you by Blue Shark Vodka and Jimmy's Famous Seafood. UNC defeats Wofford 34-14 to move to 6-5 on the season. UNC is now bowl game eligible. Clap it up.
Yes, sir.
Clap it up. Bowl game eligible for the Tar
At least got
Heels.
that this year.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Kind of a weird game, and we're going to get into it here. We appreciate y'all watching in on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Sean, you were there at the game. We're all at their game. Initial thoughts, takeaways. We get into this kind of a different show. We're going to look more towards the future of this team than actually analyzing the game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just the atmosphere of the game, right? Just being there is just kind of a little off. Like, you know, it's we talk about it throughout the whole year, just how disappointed we were with the team and where it's gone. But, you know, a win is a win. And, you know, getting the guys in that I think, like you said, we're looking towards the future, and I think the coaches are too. So to get some of those guys in, you know, early in, I think they're trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah, and so we got the news about an hour before the game. Sam Howell did not even dress for the game. He has an upper body injury, non-throwing injury. The thought from UNC is that he's going to try to play against NC State next Friday. We'll see what happens there. But Jacoby Criswell, the sophomore from Arkansas, got the start for UNC. He plays the whole first half.
Yeah.
And then Drake May plays the whole second half. And that's kind of the story. Like, we're going to talk about this a lot in the show, but your initial thoughts on Jacoby first and then Drake. And we'll get to this more in depth on our takeaways. And real quick, get your questions in on Facebook and YouTube. That's going to help guide the show. Questions about this team, about the future team, about any players. Help us guide the show here with questions on those both the social media platforms. Jacoby, what did you think about him?
I mean, I thought he was productive for what he had. I mean, he's played 2 games, I think, towards the end of the game. So when he got in, he was productive. As far as like his accuracy, I don't think it was pinpoint. I mean, again, early on he hasn't played a lot of ball games. I'm sure he's got practice reps leading up to, you know, knowing Sam wasn't playing, but just early on, I really didn't see a whole lot of, you know,
dynamic plays.
That it from him. I mean, I think he's a good runner, which I think, you know, our coordinator likes to run the quarterback. So he had a couple good runs. He showed some vision as a quarterback, which was actually pretty impressive. But as far as, like, you know, being a quarterback, I didn't really see a whole lot from him. And you know, hopefully, you know, as he continues to progress, he just gets better, because initially I didn't really see a whole lot.
And so Criswell had 11 for 19 passing, 125 yards passing.
Had a rushing touchdown too. So
5 rushes, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. Drake May came in the second half, so they did even amount of reps here. May was 7 for 9 from the field, or passing. 8 for 9. I got my basketball head on here. 7 for 9 from the field. Tar Heels playing at 4 against Purdue. Yeah. 89 yards passing, 1 passing touchdown to Kamari Morales, 4 rushes, 38 yards. Your initial thoughts on Drake May?
I thought he was he had a better pocket presence than Criswell did. I mean, like I said, Criswell was productive, but as far as like just the look and, you know, the way decisions that May made, I had a better feeling about him, you know, kind of, I ain't gonna say being a future quarterback, but, you know, I mean, I saw more stuff from him as far as like accuracy and just his decision making, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, talking with producer John, just about his, you know, his decision making, and, you know, it could be a good thing where he, you know, because Sam did the same thing where he'll hold on to the ball, you know, and I guess that's a part of decision making, but can't hold on the ball too long. You got to make a decision at least, you know, quick enough to make a play and not take a sack or, you know, get something that can be gained in that play. So,
yeah, they were both not spectacular, and I think we're going to get, because this is one of our takeaways, so we're definitely going to talk about this in a little bit more depth later in the show. But none of them jumped out the screen to me where it's like, this is the starter for next year.
Right.
So you got to think that this quarterback competition is going to go into the spring, is it go in the fall, and then Mac Brown and Phil Longo is going to have a tough decision to make. Producer John.
I got a stat to support y'all's points. UNC only had 4 passing plays today of longer than 15 yards. You think you're playing a team like Wofford, you can get a lot of long passing plays. But Drake May had a 46-yard pass. That was his long of the day.
Who was that to, you know?
It was to J.J. Jones.
Okay.
And Colby Criswell had a 23-yard pass to Josh Downs. But that's it in terms of big plays.
Yeah, that's something you're going to miss from, Sam. I mean, you just same thing with the running backs last year. Like, that's something, the yards after contact. We missed that this year, you know what I mean? So that's just something that we're going to have to try to either duplicate or play to their strengths. Because right now, like you said, it's hard to tell what their strengths are. Again, it was kind of the opposite with Criswell. He ran the ball pretty decent. He had a touchdown, had a long run.
They both look okay.
Yeah, for their first showing, yeah.
And if you're watching now, you have lived through the best era in UNC quarterback history.
That's right.
And UNC's been playing football for 100+ years.
That's right.
The last 3 years have been the best quarterback in UNC history. So whoever follows them, there's a good chance they will not be better than Sam Howell. Producer John.
We got a good YouTube question to build on what we're talking about here. This is from Alan on YouTube. Any concern for the young quarterbacks should they play against NC State if Sam Howell's unavailable? What do you all think? How could that game go if Drake or Colby has to play?
I mean, yeah, I'd be concerned.
I'm very concerned. So we're both eligible, right? So that's I guess we got to solidify with this win with State, but I think we just need to beat State. I don't care if we do anything else. I wouldn't even care if we made the bowl with this game. As long as we beat State, I really don't care what happened. But it is a concern moving forward because, again, we nobody saw anything spectacular from either one of the guys. But going into that game, it's a must-win game to me. I think you have to make a decision. You can't, have a scrimmage like you did against Wofford. You got to have a guy that you're gonna, this is the guy. We're going with him. Make that decision. Roll with it.
It will be interesting to see what happens if Sam can't go, who they go with, and then looking forward to next season if it's Drake May or Jacoby Criswell. It's a huge decision for the future of UNC football. We're gonna talk about that more. Let's talk. You got something?
No, just saying. But I do think. Again, they both have some strengths, it seems, as, what they showed today. Like, maybe they'll put Jacoby in when they need to do quarterback runs and kind of weed that in and out and kind of have a 2-quarterback system, which, is not ideal, but, in the situation we're in, whatever it takes to win.
If you have 2 quarterbacks, how many quarterbacks do you have?
Huh?
If you have 2 quarterbacks, how many
50
quarterbacks
cents.
do you have? The answer is 0. If you have 2, you
2
have none.
quarterbacks.
You have none.
Hey, I'm bad at math.
Well, it's like a little joke there. Like, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you really don't have
I've
one.
heard that before.
Yeah.
I don't know why I didn't get it right.
All right, let's talk about Blue Shark Vodka. Guys, we had at the Inside Carolina pregame show with Joey Powell and Tommy Ashley, we had both Barth brothers down there.
Mm-hmm.
Connor was like dealing out Blue Shark Vodka handles left and right. My buddies down there in Bowles Lot, Dustin and Caitlin, they're giving out bottles left and right. So big shout out to Blue Shark Vodka. They sponsor the show now for 11 games. The smoothest vodka in the world out of Wilmington and Wrightsville, a local vodka company. If you're heading to the ABC store in any of the 100 counties in North Carolina, make sure you check out Blue Shark Vodka. Let's see, today they were serving out like a cranberry vodka, a little cranberry ginger ale with a little green sugar on the rim. This tailgate I go to does
Christmas.
it up.
We
a little Christmas,
just pass up Thanksgiving.
Christmas theme. Yeah, we
thought you had a pumpkin
like a
drink.
pumpkin juice vodka wouldn't fly. So I like that idea. A little cranberry juice, a little ginger ale, and a little Blue Shark vodka. It's smooth. It goes well with a lot of different things. It's refreshing. It's light. It's available in all 100 counties, guys. So support us. Support all that we do on the podcast and Inside Carolina Postgame Live by getting out and checking out Blue Shark Vodka, owned and operated by down there in Wilmington, North Carolina, with the help of Connor Barth. All right, so we're skipping the plays of the game. Like we said, not many explosive games.
Not many.
We're going to get right into...
There was one.
Which one?
One big play that I kind of stuck out. Yeah, with Bohazer.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
He's one of our players of the game. The players of the game presented to you by Jimmy's Famous Seafood. We're going to talk about Jimmy's Famous Seafood after this. Get your questions in on YouTube and Facebook. Not on Instagram, though. YouTube and Facebook. We got producer John handling it back there. All right, players of the game. Kind of get to more of the game talk here.
Yeah.
You know, we talked a little about the quarterbacks and the bigger scheme stuff, but we did cover a game. UNC defeats Wofford 34-14. British Brooks, you watched him play. Sean, what did you think about him? 7 carries, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was honored as a senior.
When you're a dog, man, you're always chomping at the bit. And they haven't given him that bowl for him to eat yet.
Yeah.
So he had been chomping at the bits all year. So he got in. I mean, I don't know whether it was his first carry or second carry,
He
but
played the whole first half, it felt like.
no, I'm saying the touchdown.
Oh.
The first touchdown. I think might have been his first carry. He took it to the house, man. He looked good, man. Super powerful guy. I mean, again, you know, you get into coaching and players and who should play when, you know, it's all up and down. But I thought he showed some promise. Unfortunately that, you know, he's a senior and getting in that it was a senior day and they got him some touches and he made the most of them.
Yeah, he's one of those walk-ons that you know his name because he's a special team star.
Yeah.
He's become a backup at a running back for a while here. British Brooks, great senior day. 2 touchdowns. It's great for him and his family to do that on his last game as a Tar Heel. That's awesome. Josh Downs, we're going to have producer John talk about Josh Downs. 8 catches, 89 yards. Continues his streak, I think, of a certain number of games with 8 catches or more.
Yeah, and we have been talking all day today, a part of looking ahead to next season. If you have Jacoby Criswell, if you have Drake May as your quarterback, having someone like Josh Downs there to help you out, to always be open, is going to be so huge. We saw that today. Drake and Colby were both looking for Josh Downs. He was able to sort of help them out, especially in the middle of the field. I think there's a lot more potential for him because Drake and Colby like to extend plays. So if Josh is able to get that chemistry down, find some sort of broken plays for big yardage, I think that's another area where he can exceed even more. But he did well today, helped out his quarterbacks.
Yeah, Josh Downs. I mean, what I notice about him is when they use him in so many different ways because sometimes he's lined up in the slot and he won't run on the field. He'll back up and be in the backfield for kind of an outlet pass as maybe the second or third option on pass play. And he's been incredible, and I think he kind of continued his numbers here. He has a chance to pass Ryan Switzer for the number of catches for a single season catching record. He has a chance to pass Hakeem Nicks as well.
Really?
If they play in a bowl game. So for yards. So he might lead UNC all time in catches and yards after this season. Is there anything you saw about Downs that stood out?
Yeah, I mean, he's making the plays, and it was a quiet, very quiet 89 yards, but, you know, because we're so used to him and Sam connected downfield for those big explosive plays. And unfortunately, we didn't have the quarterback today to do that. Or maybe they just didn't run those plays because they didn't want to throw downfield. But yeah, I mean, he's continued to show progress, and he's just getting better every game.
You have a Downs-related question, John?
Quick stat, actually, for you. Josh Downs is up to 85 catches, tied alongside Dwight Jones in 2011 for the second most in a single season. And he might have actually gotten a few more after that. So very impressive season for Josh Downs.
The record is 96 by Ryan Switzer in 2016 with Mitch Trubisky's quarterback. And Hakeem Nicks has the passing yards record. Did you play with Hakeem Nicks?
Oh, yeah. Hakeem, Dwight Jones. Yeah, Dwight Jones is one of those guys that you kind of forgot about, but he was actually pretty good.
He was a 5-star.
He was pretty good.
Yeah. All right, and my player of the game, Jimmy's Famous Seafood, 3 players of the game, is Ray Vohasek.
Big Ray.
A senior who's going through senior day festivities. 4 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. He played like the whole game, it looked like, from us. Made some huge tackles and big plays in the backfield for UNC.
Yeah.
One play, I think you were driving or you didn't see it, but
no, I saw it.
You saw that big play?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't see it, John. That's what I'm talking about. John was waiting for me at the gate. Ray blew up like a guard or maybe a tackle, and the tackle just blew the running back in the backfield, and he flew.
Coaches call that a twofer.
Why is that?
A 2 for 1.
Okay, because he hit up 2 people.
Yeah.
And he was kind of a man amongst boys there. But Ray Vohasek, he's been so solid as kind of that defensive tackle in the middle for UNC, the nose tackle.
He's been an anchor for sure.
They're going to miss him next season.
Yeah.
Supposed to step in and play that nose tackle position. Ray Vohasek, give him a shout out as a Jimmy's Famous Seafood player of the game. Let's talk about Jimmy's Famous Seafood now. Sponsor of the Inside Carolina Postgame show. Sponsor of the Vipolis podcast. Probably the podcast with Vipolis and Justin Jackson for basketball. But Jimmy's Famous Seafood out of Baltimore, Maryland. Great crabs, crab dip, and they have shipping to anywhere in the United States. Go online, jimmysfamousseafood.com. Order some crab dip, order some soft-shell crabs, some crabs, blue crabs, anything you want to get your holiday festivities going. Skip the turkey.
I might need some of those crab cakes.
Yeah, get some crab cakes,
holidays.
crab dip. It's a great way to support our local company here and support Jimmy's Famous Seafood. They love the Tar Heels. They're tweeting at Duke people. They're helping out UNC. They support Armando Baycott, NIL deal. They support Dawson Garcia, NIL deal. And they support this podcast and this live show as well. So Jimmy's Famous Seafood and jimmysfamousseafood.com. Get your questions in, guys. Any more questions on YouTube or Facebook, John?
I've got a question on YouTube from Ryan. He says, Tai reached 1,000 yards today. Do you think the team would have been bowl eligible without him transferring? So maybe answer that, and then also just what has Tai meant to this team? He went through senior day today. How has he helped them all season long?
I'll start here. I think he's lived up to expectations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think he's been anything greater than we expected or anything less than we expected. I think he's been very solid. He had some huge games.
Yeah.
He had some big touchdowns and some big games. He had, looking here, 10 carries for 78 yards in this game. He's been solid, and he's been just what UNC needed this year. Nothing spectacular, but solid senior season for Tai Chandler. What do you see about him? And his UNC career is also over as a senior.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, when coming in, watching him from Tennessee, I didn't see anything spectacular, but like you said, he's been solid since he's been here, and I think he's gotten a lot better, over the course of the season. Definitely a hard runner, has some top end speed too, which I didn't know he had. But I don't know if we would be, because you need the running game. I mean, you need the running game to open up the pass game. We've been kind of off balance all year, but I do think he was a solid presence for us all year between him and Sam, being the rushing attack for us. And I don't think we've seen enough from the other running backs to really know, like, if we would have been bowl eligible if he had not played. So, I don't know if that really answers the question, but he has been solid. Definitely a big presence for us this year.
I think a good point is that he has gotten better every game.
Yeah.
And you kind of, what is he going to be like if he had 4 or 5 more games in the system?
Right.
Because as Phil Longo said in press conferences, like, he's gotten more comfortable with the offensive line and be able to kind of be very patient, hit the right holes.
Right.
Sean, I'm curious, do you think he's an NFL guy, or if you were looking at him as kind of as an NFL scout, what would you say he needs to work on to be an NFL running back?
So for me, I was actually talking to a couple of my teams, Kevin Reddick and Eric Highsmith. We were at a game, and I was talking about him. It's funny we talking about him actually, because I was saying that he's a good, and he has production. That's why I was asking you about the 1,000 yards, because he has production, but he's not a super flashy guy. But and I don't know what that is as offensive line, or because I haven't really broken down film with him, but I have seen this year from him that a lot of times, and he would get outside the pullers. Like he wasn't very patient to allow the line to allow the play to develop. But I do think that also plays into our offensive line and them not being super spectacular this year as well. So as a running back, if the offensive line is not gonna block up the play, you got to make something happen to make the play, right? So, that makes you want to be impatient and make something happen when there's nothing there, or when it's actually something there, you already have in your mind like, okay, I got to get 4 yards regardless of whether they, block or not. So, and again, like I said, he got better over the year because, like I said, it was a lot of times because we run power, like 2-guard pulling powers. And he would get outside of that second puller a lot of times, and that would blow the play up. So, he got better. I don't know if
he might have a chance.
I'm not a scout, so I don't really know, on the next level. I do think he could be a solid presence, like a, change of pace type of back. As far as like being a every down full-time starter, I don't see that. But again, I'm not a scout. I couldn't really speak to that, but I do think he could, make a team.
It's a great point about like how these players would be with a better offensive line. I think you said the same about Sam Howell.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, if he has better receivers this year and a better offensive line, he's not run for his life for his last 3 years.
Correct.
And he has a deep threat. how good could he be in an NFL offense. I think that's what we'll see as he goes through the draft process. Okay, 3 takeaways presented by Blue Shark Vodka. Give them a shout out again. Blue Shark Vodka out of Wilmington and Wrightsville. Local vodka available in all 100 counties. The smoothest vodka in the world. 3 takeaways. All right, we did a lot about the quarterbacks at the top. A lot of people come in and out of the show. We're going to touch it again on the QBs here, set it up. 3 takeaways. Sean, what do you think about Jacoby Criswell as a quarterback for UNC in the first half today?
I thought, like I said, he was productive, with what he had, and not being able to play as much, this year. It takes some reps to really get good at quarterback, man. That's a hard position. I couldn't and would not want to be a quarterback. That's a hard position. You have to know where everybody is and make adjustments during the play, and it's just such a hard position to play. From the actual physical standpoint and the mental standpoint. But from Jacoby, I thought he played well for what he had. Showed that he can run the ball, which I think the coaches kind of wanted to see that from him because being Sam, being the rushing attack for us, I feel like they kind of want to keep that theme going. So they set that up with him. It wasn't very accurate. There was one play in particular.
Throws,
missed a couple throws. Basic throws was one basic throw that really stood out where he kind of scrambled a little bit. He didn't know whether he wanted to run because there was a defender between him and the running back. I forget who the running back was, but he went to the side. The running back went to the sideline, and he threw it, and it was like 8 yards over his head. Yeah. And it was basically like, I assume like 10-yard throw. And, those small plays make a big difference. That 10-yard throw could have turned into a 30-yard gain. So those are the type of throws you don't want to miss. And so from him, I didn't see a lot of accuracy.
Yeah, and these guys need to get more comfortable, more reps. It's the first time they've had any really meaningful reps with playing, snap after snap, possession after possession. Criswell finishes 11 for 19 for 125 yards. He did rush the ball 5 times, 66 yards, and a touchdown. He's stockier. He's a little bit shorter than Drake May, and can definitely take some hits and get some yards. Drake May here quickly, 7 for 9, 89 yards passing, 1 touchdown to Kamari Morales, 4 rushes, 38 yards. Taller guy, more pocket presence.
Right.
Quick takeaway on what you saw from Drake May.
Yeah, like you said, a bigger pocket presence to me. I feel like he was trying to go through his progressions a little more. There was some I feel like he may have predetermined who he was going to throw to because, as a quarterback, for me, if, the down the field throws aren't there initially, I'm looking at tight ends and running backs. And, he kind of missed some of the running backs that were, open on some flat routes. And, that should be your safety blanket, especially coming in as a quarterback that hasn't played all year. Just, dump off some passes, get comfortable, and then you can look downfield. But, again, his accuracy on the throws, I didn't see a whole bunch of throws, but the one touchdown he threw where he actually went through his progression, there was a U slide, like a tight end slide to the flat, and then there was one it was 2 tight ends, one delayed as a blocker, slipped out into the, maybe a 5-yard little out, and then the other to the flat, and he, went through his progression, didn't throw to the flat, and then he kind of threw a little nice touch pass to Morales for the touchdown. So, I feel like he has a better pocket presence than Criswell did.
It'll be interesting to see what happens after this year. I think for this game, Phil Longo, offensive coordinator for UNC, was very conservative. Want to get some easy passes early, some design runs, get them comfortable. I think we saw that there weren't many deep routes even available for them. So definitely the whole offense wasn't available. But come game time next year, one of these guys is going to be the starter.
Have to be that guy.
To think about. All right, second takeaway is the defense. You had a couple injuries. We saw Ja'Cory Conley get injured on the first play. A kickoff return. I'm not sure if it was exactly the first play, but he touched the ball as a kickoff, so he's out. We don't know about his injury status. We saw Gimmel get hurt as well. I'm not sure of his status either, if he even came back or not. I think as the offense should have scored more, and the defense should have held Wofford a little more too. You saw them driving it down to the red zone. Yeah, that was a little concerning as well.
That was another thing we were talking about, like with the defense during the game. Like you can't call for the D coordinator's job or like it's all on him because we've talked about it on the show a couple times. Like the guys are in position to make a lot of plays, bro. Like, they're in the backfield. Like, even when Powell Echols came in, he ran right through the daggone line, and the running back was right beside him, and, he just missed the tackle. But, again, I think defense definitely has to get better next year. Like, I mean, it's a must.
It's a guy next year. I mean, you're gonna have, I think, some of the best players on this defense. John can attest to this. We both kind of follow recruiting. The best players are sophomores. Tony Grimes, Ja'Cory Conley, Miles Murphy, Des Evans, Cayman Rucker. A lot of the best players are sophomores. So they'll be juniors, kind of your peak, kind of where you're getting to become your best player.
And that's the thing too. Like, we're getting guys in.
Yeah.
But how are we making them better? They're supposed to come in and they're already good, but how are we making them better while they're here?
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a big thing we were talking about too. But yeah, defense takeaway.
Yeah, I think you, like, as a UNC fan, you want to see the score be a little bit bigger than 34 to
against
14
Wofford. Right.
Against Wofford. I mean, there's just a completely different recruiting level. Yeah. I mean, UNC's getting 5 stars and 4 stars. Wofford's getting freaking -1 stars.
I was saying that today too. I was hoping we didn't have a bunch of recruits here today, because the day wasn't the day.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah. Okay, bowl game, third takeaway. UNC gets to a bowl game. 30 in a row under Mac with a bowl game. Remember, before Mac got here, there was a 3-9 season, a 2-9 season. So if there is a positive to this year, it's a third bowl game. UNC 6-5 going into the NC State game. They'll get 13 practices after the state game leading up to a bowl. It's probably going to be in December, late December sometime. Shreveport, Charlotte, we don't know. It's not going to be some massive bowl game, but UNC will go to a bowl game. How important is that to a team that, like you said, needs more reps for the quarterbacks, for these young defenders, for young running backs? You've been to a couple bowl games. What are those bowl practices like, and how important is that for the development of a team?
They kind of get mundane, be real with you.
Like, let's get going.
Yeah, I just want to play the bowl game, especially like with a lot of seniors that either know they're going to the league or they know they're not going to ever play again.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you have those two dynamics, and practice can kind of be a bad show.
But it's a chance for the young players, I guess, who want to prove themselves.
It is.
To come in,
and
a
I think,
freshman or a sophomore, to be like, hey, I want to get a starting job next year.
Man, coaches start to get those guys in. They start to get them reps. And, it's unfortunate for senior guys who actually could go out, and play the last game. But that's what coaches do. If they see some promise in some guys, some younger guys, or they want to, kind of start developing them early in the bowl game, I think this is the time, and that's what happens during these practices.
And kind of see what they have, like who we have behind this
Correct.
Senior who might play in the bowl game.
Right.
But J.J. Jones, Kobe Passor, Gavin Blackwell, who these wide receivers, who these running backs, what offensive linemen are going to start after a Marcus McKeith and a Joshua Zudu, a Corian Johnson leave from the NFL, who they have behind them. So.
And who do you have now, like the guys last year who didn't play in the bowl game, other than Sam, that just say, I'm not going to play.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
So it can be a launching off point. It can be a way to develop. You get 13 extra practices, an advantage over teams that don't make a bowl game. But for 3 straight years, UNC has made a bowl game 6-5 with a 34-14 win over Wofford. Let's wrap this up. UNC is next in action against NC State. 7:30 on Friday, Black Friday after Thanksgiving Day. We'll be here. John will not be here. This is the last.
Oh, man.
Got for John. Last. Bowl game, maybe. Yeah, we're going to do the bowl game too, but last game, regular game for John. He has a question from a listener on YouTube or Facebook.
Even better, I've got a little bit of trivia here. We're talking about bowl games. This is a stat line. I want you to tell me who had this stat line in a bowl game. 23 attempts, 160 yards, 7 yards per carry, 1 touchdown.
Sean's run.
I think Sean knows. Yes, Sean in the Music City Bowl 2010 against Tennessee. So
let's get a Music City Bowl story real quick.
Who?
That was a crazy game.
That was a crazy game.
Bush, right?
Bush Davis.
Bush Davis.
Yeah. So we went into that game, and a lot of guys, like Johnny was hurt. Johnny White was hurt.
Jeez.
That year it was up and down, like with my stuff going on. That's besides the point. And Tony Elzey, I believe, became like he was ineligible for like grades or something like that. So I ended up, starting again, and going to that game. And I was ready to I was British Brooks during the bowl game.
What year were you?
That was just my senior.
Oh,
That was my last game.
Okay.
Last game of my career. Yeah, so it was crazy. Like it ended, that controversy with spiking the ball. Man, they were throwing beer bottles and spitting and throwing all types of stuff as that game. It was
quarterback did like a throat slash.
Throat slash. Tyler Brady. Look.
Tyler Brady. Yeah.
What's crazy is my rookie year. No, my second year in the league, he ended up getting. I think he got drafted or either he got picked up with the Chiefs. And I was there, and I was like, bro, you remember you did the throat slash?
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
He was cocky.
I think that game also started the 10-second runoff.
It did.
Like that's what
came.
Rule.
Yeah, it did.
I don't even understand what happened there, but TJ Yates, Casey Barth kicked the field goal. Saw him today. Casey Barth, Blue Shark Vodka.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting out of here. Question from John again. Oh, no question.
I was going to just do some throwback box score. The other rushers in that game were TJ Yates, Todd Harrelson, and Jeremy Boyd for UNC. So all of Sean's teammates.
4 or 5 star guy.
Yeah. Fast.
Yeah, running back or wide receiver.
Wide receiver.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to the Inside Carolina Postgame Live, presented to you by Blue Shark Vodka and Jimmy's Famous Seafood. This is our third to last show. We'll do NC State game next Friday, and the bowl game whenever that is. This is the last regular season game for producer John. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. I'm your host, Ross Martin, and Sean Drone. Guys, thanks for listening.
Thank y'all.
We'll see you next time.
All right.